Earlier this winter, I was driving in my car. I was following a truck, and in the back of the box, they had some rocks, and one of those rocks, of course, bounced out, hit the road, and hit my windshield, and caused a little chip. And I can live with a little chip in a windshield. I didn't take any action on it, and I didn't expect that it would get any worse. But over a short period of time, all of a sudden, this little chip turned into a big crack. In fact, it turned into a big honking crack. And had I just had the guys in the little red truck come on out initially for the chip and do whatever magic they do to these things, it would have been a very, very small cost. But because it turned into such a large crack, I had to have my whole windshield replaced. And it was a whole lot more expensive than, had I just fixed the chip to begin with. So, bad on me. And those of you who watch these posts kind of have figured out where I'm going with this one already, but I'm going to go there anyways. And as real estate agents, we do get chips in our windshield. It just happens. And one of the big things we need to do is to recognize that a chip has happened in your windshield, and to keep it from turning into a big crack and becoming more and more expensive. So and it's kind of the things that getting a second call from a client reminding you to do something that you promised to do. And if they got to call you again, they're starting to get a little bit irritated. You said you were going to do something, they're holding you to it, and that little chip is starting to turn into a bigger crack. Or if they don't return your call, even worse yet, they're starting to write you off. So you better do some damage control on this. And one of the biggest chips I've seen is when your client starts comparing you to another real estate company or another real estate agent, saying things like, the house down the street sold in 3 weeks, and ours hasn't sold yet. Or they did an open house last week again, and they got a single property website, and they've got information boxes. Anything that you are compared to and you don't compare favorably with, that's a chip in your windshield, and you better start doing something about it before it gets too expensive. Or other things like refusing showings. If you got a good property and they're not letting people in, there's something going on. Or they can't find the listing online, or they make a comment like, "Oh, hey, Marge, look who showed up." If you start hearing stuff like this, you do have problems. These are definite chips in your windshield. So then the question is how do you avoid getting them? And it's pretty simple. We're in a customer service industry. So service your customers, take good care of them. One of the biggest things is to keep in communication, is be talking to your clients, whether it's a buyer or a seller, all the time. Make it so it's conversational. And you're talking to them on a real regular basis and telling them what you're doing for them. And by always talking to them and telling them what you're doing, it kind of forces you into the mode of always doing something. As we talked about recently, always working towards the close or working towards a sale, and that you're doing a lot of small items, but it's always going in a certain direction. So, make sure that your clients know what that direction is and that you're working for them. And the second part of this would be just be responsive. When they ask you for something, do it. Do it right away. If they say that they can't find your listing online, you better find out why not. You better do the search yourself and fix it and report back to them. Otherwise, cumulatively, these little chips, they start spidering and getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And I will tell you that twice this year, and it's not even April 1st yet, I have had to take over listings from a couple of our agents who were not responsive, who didn't recognize that there were chips in their windshield. And the clients wanted to fire the company. So, we got them to fire just the agent, but we kept it within the company. And of course, I'm going to give the agents money back on this because they worked for it. But the point is, they should have kept all the money. They should have recognized that these little chips turn into cracks. And that's kind of what it's all about, is to know that chips do happen. We're not perfect. We're not fail-proof. Well, unless you're Becky the Bug Lady. I don't think that she had a lot of chips in her windshield. But for the rest of us, things do happen. But what you need to do is to make sure that these little tiny chips get dealt with quick, fix them quick, so that they don't turn into, big honking cracks in your windshield.